Okay, we've looked at import profiles. Now I want to look at something called options profiles in this video, and to give you a quick demonstration, let's just open a keyword project. Let's open Cellulite. Now as you see, as I've opened Cellulite, over here this drop down box here says count only. Now that is an options profile. In my options I have specified a profile called count only, which will just display the keyword and just display the count. And when I open this project, that options profile is attached to this project. So every time I open this project, it will open with that count only options profile unless I change it. Let's have a look at a different project. Let's open the golf one. Okay, the golf one opens with a different options profile called original, and basically this is just a profile that displays the count 24 hours competing, and in this case I've also added the ratio to it, although there's no data in the ratio column. So you can attach these options profiles to data, and that means that only the columns that you're interested in will be displayed. If you want to, you can change these options profiles on the fly. So let's change that to keywords only. I should say that refers to keywords only, and there you can see it's just highlighting the keywords. I can change back to the original if I want to, but there's no data in those columns, which is probably why I assigned this options profile to this data count only. Now you might wonder why you would want to change on the fly. Well, the best reason for this is if you're using reports, because these reports down here will use the data that is being shown to write to the report. So if you say you want to save this particular phrase to the appended report, for example, then if we open the appended report, you'll see that the count and the keyword are both written to the appended report. If, however, you only have the keywords showing, and let's write it to the appended report again, and you open the appended report, you'll see that only the keyword is written to that report. The same goes with every other report here. A standard text report would only show the keywords and not the rest of the data. So that is why you might want to change the options profile on the fly. Let's just have a look at the options profile and we'll set one up. Here they are, we've got these three here. Now you'll see these tabs over on this side. This one we've seen in an earlier video, but this one, that one, and this one are all related to the options profile. Let's just have a quick look at this, the unique keyword ignore list. This we'll see in a different video, but basically these are small words that you want to ignore when doing important filtering. Okay, if we take the count only options profile, we can see that the default filtering rules for this is count is at least 10, there's no maximum specified. That means that if we've got the count only showing and we click the default filter button, then 10 is filled in as the minimum count number. If we open the golf database and we do default filter, you'll see that a more complicated criteria is set up. In fact, this is not a good one because it's got some problems there. But anyway, let's go back to the options profile and we'll go to the original and we'll just fix this. So in the original profile, what I'm looking for is phrases that have at least 5 searches a day. This is the minimum column, that's the maximum column. And also the only other thing that's filled in is a minimum competition of 0, maximum competition of 1,000. So if I save that and we go back and have a look at this data and click default filter, you'll see these are already filled in for us. So that is one of the things you specify in your options profile. The next thing to specify is which columns of data to include. You'll see here that under the original, only count, 24 hours competing, and ratio are highlighted. And here you can see the options profile here. It shows you which columns are included. Keywords you don't have to check because they're always shown, but anything else you want show count, you'd click it. Let's create a new option profile and I'll just show you. We'll just call this one test. and we'll say that for this one we want a minimum of 5 counts per day and a maximum competition of 5,000. We can save that, but we also want to include, let's just say we want 24-hour count and competition. Those are the only two columns that we want. We can select whichever ones we want here, and we'll save. Now if we go back to the data, I'm going to have to close that window first. If we go back to the data and we select this new profile, you can see that only the 24 hours and the competing columns are included. If I click the default filter, there's the default information that we've set up earlier. So the options profiles are quite flexible. You can not only set up default filtering rules, which means that when you come to this screen you have a one-click button to get your optimal results, but you can also say which columns you want included for that particular data. The column width you can pretty much ignore, but basically these are the number of pixels width that each data source is. When you click columns, you automatically set these columns here. You don't have to type these values in yourself. You can if you want to. If you decide that you want to have a slightly larger column, you can do. And the other thing you might want to do is if you're using keyword bids, you can say, okay, I only want the top 3. And you can see those are set for 64, or the top 5 bids, or all bids. And so that's how these these options profiles are working. Let's just go back to the main screen for a moment so I can show you something. So we have the database on golf, we have the default options profile. If you change that, then that is automatically saved, so that if we then go and we open up another project and we come back to the golf one, you'll see that the profile that we chose is the new one. So every time you change the profile, it will be saved and remembered. Finally, the last thing I want to show you is that in a previous video we saw how to import other formats, and on this particular screen where you define your import profiles, you can see that you've got this default options profile. Now we sort of skipped over it during that video, but now you can see the value of this. If, for example, you have a source like, I don't know, keyword discovery, you could have the profile name keyword discovery, and you can have an options profile set up just for keyword discovery data. Well, then you would select your keyword discovery profile from this box and save it to this import profile. Then whenever you imported data using this profile, it would always attach that as the default options profile. So I know this video is a little bit complicated, but once you get your head around it, you'll see the real power between this, because you can set up different options for different databases.